Hi HR Nation, welcome back to another episode of the HR Leaders Podcast, the show where we explore the future of work with industry experts and HR executives from the world's leading global brands. On today's show, we'll be discussing why human capital decisions are more critical than financial or technology decisions. I'm joined by Khurshid Anis, who's a business psychologist, global HR and talent strategy leader, people analytics enthusiast, and former vice president of HR strategy at KeyBank. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing good, Chris. Thank you so much. How are you?
Not too bad. Nice to see you. I'm going to say congratulations on the new role, even though we can't announce it. So it's a secret for now. But for everyone listening, we'll let you know soon. But very exciting that you've just left KeyBank and you're off to a new company. But I know you can't tell us just yet. But really excited to have you on the show. How does it feel? You excited?
Good. I'm excited. Yes, it's a great time to be moving to another role that I'm discussing, and I'll share with the community very soon where I'm headed.
Yeah, no worries. We'll see the update on LinkedIn. We'll follow there. Tell everyone a little bit more about yourself personally and your background and journey to where we are.
Sure. Thank you. So I have about 17 years in human resource. I started as an HR analyst. I've done a lot of internal and external consulting within human resource for about 6 to 7 years at the beginning of my career. Lived and worked in many countries, as well as consulted, managed large teams across various continents and countries. I have worked as an HR business partner for the last 5, 6 years, maybe 7 years, and have spent some time in HR operations, talent management, and really now focusing on the HR strategy and digitizing HR and coaching HR teams to become data driven.
Fantastic. So explain to everyone the above concept that we just described when you talk about why human capital decisions are more critical than financial or technological decisions.
You may have access to capital, Chris, but so does your competitor. What's the difference? You have access to any kind of technology, and so does your competitor. Where's the difference? The difference really is in how your finance and strategy teams make the decisions on investing that financial capital, or your technology teams on how they implement the technology, and then your C-suite or the leaders or HR teams drive adoption of that technology. Unless your people start using that technology, it's a dead investment. So technology does not implement itself, and revenue doesn't grow on its own. You need people to do both. And there has been a lot of focus on investing the financial capital or what technology to buy and implement. But relatively, in all my experiences I have seen, there's not much focus on people's side of those decisions. I think with the whole revolution and how the work is being done today and where we are headed in this, post-pandemic world, the focus really is on people and making work better for people. Likewise, we'll have to make people better at work. And that will happen only when we bring this investor level focus and rigor on people decisions.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that we haven't had that focus on the people element for so long, despite it seeming so obvious the way you put it?
It is very obvious. And, the focus until now really was on finance and growing finance, implementing technology. But through COVID, we realized how important, how critical people were in all this. And not only the business leaders, now the people themselves have realized that they're not working for the sake of working. They're not earning money for the sake of earning money. They are doing that to improve their lifestyle. They're doing that to improve how they work. They're making decisions differently. And that is why the companies that will bring focus on people decisions and make better people decisions will outperform their competitors going forward.
What can executives do then and C-suite leaders in terms of being able to make better decisions, people decisions?
Yeah, so think about this, HR really is now a very critical business function, and we really design the people strategy for the organization. Of course, it is in sync with the business strategy or the financial goals that the company is after or the mission that they are trying to accomplish. But if you see, the business leaders are the executors of people strategy. how and who they hire, how they develop people, how they manage people has changed drastically. And just as the frontline, even the leaders now have an opportunity to learn these new behaviors and build the capabilities for managing talent of the future. It has not much resemblance left from the past. It's a whole new learning journey for everyone, including the leaders. We've always asked, if you remember, we've always asked HR to speak the language of the business and to understand the finance, right? While that is non-negotiable, very important, now it is equally important for the business leaders to become fluent in the language of workforce and become active investors in talent.
I love it.
They will need to understand what is skill development, how to identify the gaps, how to coach the team, what does employee experience mean, what are the employee journeys that they themselves are part of. But if you ask any business leader, I doubt any of them will be able to articulate what the employee journeys are, what are the moments that matter. So I believe it is an opportunity for the business leaders to learn the language of the people and of the talent.
Yeah, I love the way you put that, because you're right. For so many years, it's like HR needs to understand the language of the business. Now it's like the business needs to understand the language of the people. It's kind of flipped the other way around.
It is, and I think it is a great opportunity for human resource to step up and drive this kind of change, right? Nobody understands talent and nobody understands the workforce that a human resource teams does. Mm-hmm. It is our opportunity to take, to drive this transformation in a way where there is focus on talent and culture for the business. And that is how these businesses are going to win in the marketplace. They're not going to win just because they have X amount of capital or just because they've implemented some kind of technology.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to have to be a big mindset shift in the HR function itself?
Absolutely. HR has never done all that. Initially, we were thought of as a support function. And more lately, we were thought of as a business partner function. Now, we have an opportunity to establish ourselves as one of the most business critical function, which can directly influence the financial and the earnings growth for the company.
What do you think the biggest challenge is going to be for HR then to make that shift and capitalize on this moment?
There are a lot of challenges, right? The skill and development within human resource, right? The companies will really have to invest in their HR teams and make sure that their leaders and the team, they are absolutely data driven. And when I say data driven, every single domain within human resource and every single employee, the front line to the C-suite, they will really need to understand how to make data informed people decisions and how to ensure that they also carry forward the fiduciary responsibility towards the workforce. So it's a whole new way of leading and working, and really the HR leaders and HR teams really need to learn how to do this. This is not something that we've done in the past that often.
Yeah,
it's a learning journey. So the speed at which we learn, how open-minded we are in aligning the human capital to the business strategy is what will determine the success forward. If I elaborate on the strategy, right, what the HR strategy needs to drive and accomplish and how to compete in the marketplace. There's a lot HR can do. However, I think the focus really needs to be on 3 to 4 things right now, given how the people are leaving their organizations without even having a job. Someday they will have to come back, but they will go to the companies that are better for them, not to companies that are not going to put people at the center of their work. So strategic workforce planning, this is a very important and inherently complex body of work, which typically in most organizations has been driven by finance and human resource as well as business leaders. That has changed. There are so many known and unknown variables now. Some you can control and some you cannot control. Plus the relationship within those variables is not linear. Right? We typically think when we're doing a workforce planning, until now, it used to be a yearly exercise. But the business is not waiting until the end of the year to find out whether you had the talent or did not have the talent. It is, this exercise has to become much more agile and, in lockstep with the changes that are impacting the business. So when we were doing this kind of workforce planning, we used to think about, how do we buy, build, or borrow the skills, or buy, build, borrow the talent that we need. Well, now don't forget, we also have to factor in the artificial intelligence and all the automation that is changing the roles that we typically have in the organization. And the workforce, where we used to define workforce as our employees who were on our payroll, that's no more the case. The workforce has become an ecosystem of workforce. So we have employees who are working with gig workers, contractors, service providers, vendors, and of course, don't forget the bots that are taking some parts of our work. You have to factor all of this into the strategic workforce planning. And this is something new that HR has to learn, just as finance and business is trying to figure it out. It's a great opportunity to inform and influence that workforce planning. We had always thought about something as critical as employee well-being as a part of our benefits strategy. We never thought about employee well-being, or we never considered employee burnout while doing strategic workforce planning. But now we know that that is a critical part. And if people are exhausted and people are burnt out, they are not going to contribute to the work that we had imagined when we were doing the workforce planning.
And they will leave.
Absolutely. They will leave or they will not perform. Right?
Yeah.
The right number of people at the right cost, but more importantly, now having the new skills that are needed to drive the business forward is making the strategic workforce planning even more complex than it was before. So that's a very strategic area where HR teams can make a very big difference. And another is skill development, right? Every industry, every job role has a new way of working now. It's a great opportunity to learn. And I believe that the employees will have to match that investment. So it cannot be it cannot be the employers running after the employees, asking them to learn. The employees will need to step up, get out of their own way, stop working in the traditional ways, and learn the new ways of working very quickly. So the accountability is on both the sides. Another really strategic area where HR can make a difference is recruiting, right? With so many people leaving the organization, someday they will have to come back, and to get the best of the talent for your organization, recruiting is going to be critical, right? There is abundant research that says that diversely experienced teams perform much better than homogeneous teams. Now we have a lot of data in our systems that we can harness and create that, diversely experienced teams. We do not need 20 years of experience. We can go after talent that has the skills and the capabilities, irrespective of how many years of experience or what education they bring.
And also now where they're based, right?
Exactly.
With hybrid, it now opens up a whole new opportunity.
Absolutely. I have seen a lot of people in sales and marketing who are exceptionally good selling the product and services when they are in person. But when they have to do it online, they struggle. And that is not going to help the business. Right. So those skills and capabilities have become extremely important. There are leaders who are able to manage team in person, but they don't know how to engage a team when they are, logging in from various locations. Mm-hmm. And I feel that, typically in most companies, HR has done a good job with recruiting from outside, but we have struggled to hire from inside the company. And that is why this whole internal mobility has become extremely important. And I hope that some kind of technology is able to solve for it. Right now, many organizations have implemented huge human capital management platforms that have this kind of capability. However, we are struggling to have our employees enter their data into the system. Right? Yeah. Unless we have the structured and the unstructured data in the system, we will not know what skills and capabilities we have within our organization. We will not know how to align those skills and capabilities to the business needs in real time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. How important do you think that your background in psychology has, what role has that played in the success of the work and your role? What do you think?
It has helped a lot. For two reasons. One is because you just have a deeper and greater understanding of human behavior, And another extremely important contribution it makes is that you have that analytical way of thinking. You have that unboxed way of thinking, and you understand how to take data and convert it into insights. At the same time, making sure that those insights are ethical, they are surrounded around people, and it brings that, and it's really difficult. Chris, that's a great question, but it's difficult to quantify it. But the understanding of human behavior really, really helps in the HR business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you hear, people say, I got into HR because I love people, but it's not. No. Yeah, I know exactly. That's the reaction I was expecting. And I was like, it's not as simple as that.
No, that's a very interesting point you made, and I will tell you, many of us got into human resource because we did not like math or statistics. Many of us got into human resource because we did not like technology.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Many of us got into human resource because we don't like sales and marketing.
And every single one of those, now more than ever, are the most critical elements of being.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So those are the skills, the mindsets and the behavior changes that HR itself has to go through.
Yeah.
Before they can influence or impact the business.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's kind of one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of HR leaders leave. I know it's been a very stressful last 2 years, but I've seen more than ever in my career, and I've been doing this for 14 years, HR leaders walk away during this time as well. Obviously I speak to people offline, not on the show, about these things, but are you seeing that as well amongst your friends, colleagues? It's kind of stepping away from
the... Yeah, for sure. There are these reasons why they're leaving. And I'll really give you the in-depth and behind the scenes of why HR people are leaving. Some of them are leaving because they are not able to, they're not working with the businesses that are committed around their people. Some of the reasons they're leaving is because the world has changed. There's a lot of need for newer thinking, use of people analytics, and some of the HR leaders have never done that in the past. So it's a huge learning curve for them, and they don't want to go through that learning curve. And third reason why they're leaving is they're just exhausted after doing everything that HR did during the last 18 and 20 months, 24 months to keep our workforce safe and secure, and yet performing for our organizations. So it's a combination of these three things.
And that last one we don't talk about enough, right? Of the toll it's taken on, because not only are you taking care of your own mental health and well-being, but then now you're also responsible for tens of thousands, in many, sometimes hundreds of thousands of employees and their livelihood and their well-being. Huge stress. And who does HR turn to?
That's a great question.
Right, during all of that as well. So
Absolutely. I agree with you. And, I'm sure everyone listening to this will agree that HR has done a phenomenal job.
Yes.
During these 18, 20 months. We were not just working. We did a great job keeping our employees across the world safe and secure, and we still continue the business.
I was going to create this t-shirt range, and my team were like, maybe it's a bit too much, called HR Heroes. And I was going to send it to all of the HR leaders and kind of with their name and sort of this like badge of honor, sort of HR heroes, and even this little medal with a HR heroes. And I might do it now because I feel like it's right to do it. But I thought maybe it'd be a bit cheesy and over the top. But I genuinely feel like they have been the real heroes during the last 2 years.
Yep, I agree. And if I can add, make sure that your hero has at least 6 to 8 different hands. Because we're managing technology. That's a
good for the logo. I'll add that to the design as well. Now I've said it here, I'm going to make it happen now. I'm going to do it, and I'll post and I'll send it out to everyone as well. But listen, before I let you go, firstly, super exciting times for you and a new role. So we'll find out more about that later. But for everyone listening, for those HR leaders that are on their journey to where you are now, what advice would you give them? It's a tough time, right? Especially if you're a HR manager kind of working your way up the ladder to to be a CHRO or CPO, what advice would you give to them?
Don't underestimate yourself. Don't underestimate the ability to learn. Many times we just don't allow ourselves to learn what's happening, what's latest and the greatest. And once you start learning, how the world has changed, and you're able to adapt very quickly. There's really nothing that HR cannot do in a business today. And the greatest job satisfaction comes when business tells you that they won the business or they grew the business because of the people strategy. So learn technology, learn finance, be bold when you're sitting at the table. Help your business leaders learn the language of people and learn the language of workforce.
I love that. Honestly, one of the things that I've taken away from this is really, as you said, for so many years, HR has been told they need to learn the language of the business. It's time that the business learn the language of our people. And so I absolutely love that. And it's really great chatting with you. And I wish you all the best with the new role. And I look forward to doing this again soon.
Thank you so much, Chris. Great questions and good time talking to you. Thank you.